What is going on, guys, gals, non-binary pals? It is your boy Artisan Kane, and we are going to do a quick team build preview here for our week 2 matchup of the SPC. We are playing Seb, who is the coach of the Skystrike Starmies, and didn't get as much as we usually get to for prep time and stuff. Had a lot of stuff with work the past week, so this is kind of what we came up with. His team here is on the right side. So I've got Talonflame, Lipard, Darmg, Uxie, Feeny, Mamo, Mandibuzz, Metagross, Poltegeist, and Quagsire. Um, Obviously, just looking at his team, the big one that jumps out at you right off the bat is Darmg, right? Gorilla Taxis is a pretty broken ability, and that thing hits like a truck. So we have to be prepared for it. It doesn't help that we have a good amount of ice weaknesses on our overall team as well. The other thing with Darmg too is like those moves like Icicle Crash or Iron Head and stuff. They've also got flinch chances too. So even if you live one, like there's always a chance that you end up flinching and then you can't even hit it back. So we have to be very, very careful around that. Obviously, so I actually have these mons ranked in their speed tier, the Starmies speed tier. Obviously, Talonflame being the fastest one. Base speed I think is like 124, 125, something like that. Obviously, Gale Wings also. But with a mon like Talonflame, it basically requires running heavy duty boots. Which is good because then we don't have to worry about choice band or anything crazy like that if he decides to bring it. Lipard, Prankstermon, so can be real annoying. Taunt user, knockoff, um, toxic spreader also. Darmg we kind of already talked about. Uxie. The primary ways I've seen Uxie used is kind of like utility, like a rock setter, stuff like that. It's pretty bulky, so it could be difficult to take down in 2 hits. Most of the time, it's going to be like a 3-hit KO. Looking at most of the calcs, so I have to be aware of that. And then yeah, status things, uh, all that good stuff. But when we look at the next mon, Tapu Fini, if Misty Terrain is up, then obviously the things like status are less of a concern because we're being protected by the terrain. I also don't have any dragons on my team, so like, any of the dragon moves being reduced, like that really doesn't do anything for us. Anyways, Mamo, more than likely, if it's brought, it's going to be something that's going to be either his rocker or more of an offensive set, like a banded set could be really difficult to deal with. It also has a pretty decent speed tier, so we have to be aware of that too going into it. Let's see, Mandibuzz obviously super bulky. Um, So one of the main reasons we're actually running the Mew set we're running is because of Mandibuzz. I didn't want to bring a set that Mandibuzz can just hard wall. Um, and Mandibuzz, depending on whether he goes very physical or very special defensive, it can be a very big pain in the butt to deal with. Foul play also hits a lot of our team really hard since we are primarily physical this week. Metagross. Metagross, I don't think he brought Metagross last week, but Metagross is a solid mon. That typing is really cool. Potential for like a weakness policy set, or I mean, in all reality, could even use like a banded set on Metagross too if you wanted. Um, it's always kind of nerve-wracking on psychic mons like Uxie, like Metagross, even some of the ghost mons. to hold a weakness policy, because if we click knockoff, like we can really put ourselves in a real bad spot if he's like an agility weakness policy set, something like that. Put him in a position to do some real big damage to our team. Poltergeist is a big, shell smasher, that kind of deal. Kind of the primary thing it does is like a sash set with shell smash. So things like rocks are going to be real important for us this week, not only because of the typings on his team. Um, he's got 3 mons that are weak to rock, um, but also for things like breaking sashes, that'll be real important too. And then Quagsire, obviously Quagsire can be a real big pain in the ass. If it's like an unaware wall type deal. That's kind of why we're running some of the sets we are running. Also with recover things like that, it can be a real pain to deal with. So top to bottom, um, we're looking at a really solid team. Honestly, this is a really fun team. I like their team a lot. It's very much like a team that I would want to use. I really love Mamoswine. Mandibuzz is one of my favorite Pokemon in singles. Um, Tapu Fini is really fun to use too. Obviously, Darm hitting like a truck. You can just click buttons and do work. Um, and a lot of these calcs are really difficult, especially because of this team being so well rounded. So looking at our team now, first up we've got Clef. Um, Depending on what his team looks like at team preview, I might lead Clef just to get up rocks ASAP. Um, but if like Metagross isn't there for some reason, then I might just lead like a Lowland Persian and just parting shot out and immediately start trying to get momentum into something that we want want in, as in like a positive matchup type deal. Um, like I said, rocks is real important not only because of those weaknesses, but also like breaking the sash and stuff like that. A lot of our calcs look a lot better with that extra chip damage. Um, Looking at our set, we're very defensive. A lot of that is to be able to counter things like Darmanitan, Mamoswine, from being able to just absolutely obliterate us out the gate. Metagross can still do a whole lot of damage to us, obviously because of our fairy typing and its steel stab coverage. Um, but we do have our wish support there, keep ourselves healthy, also teleport to um, wish port and bring in someone else and have them receive a wish, and then Moonblast just for basic stab moves so we're not you know immediately taunted into being totally useless. Um, we're also running a Screens Rotom set. I was thinking of being a little bit more defensive on Rotom, but honestly, I like having the 252 Spatak to make sure that our Volt Switches hit hard and our Leaf Storms hit hard. I was kind of toying with the idea of like an Eject Pack set, but it doesn't do too much for us this week, so might be something to keep in mind for later weeks. Volt Switch, obviously, looking at his team is definitely not something that's free. Um, he's got the Memo there, um, and then Quagsire obviously also. So we have to be aware of that. But something like Quagsire doesn't want to really switch into a Rotom unless he's going to be very aggressive with his predictions. Because if I click Leaf Storm, that thing can get obliterated. Um, so dual screens is really important for us, especially in the late game, to make sure that uh, those like hole punchers like Darmanitan and Mamoswine and Metagross, and to a lesser extent, if like Poltegeist is set up or something, um, that or like if Fini's like a calm mindset, something like that. Those screen support can be real helpful in keeping our fat mons, keeping them alive, keeping them allowing us to put more pressure on the opposing team. And one of the mons that benefits the most from that is actually our Corviknight. So our next mon is Corviknight with Rocky Helmet. Pressure is going to be great for us. Um, Again, he's got a very strong team, but Corviknight covers most of his team pretty well, outside of a Darmanitan Flare Blitz, which is still doing massive damage. Um, we were able to deal with a lot of his team, especially after an Iron defense. So we're max defense, Iron defense, body press. Payback just kind of gives us a little bit more coverage on things like Yuxi, uh, and to a lesser extent, Metagross. Roost, obviously, for longevity there. Um, if we're able to wish past two Corv also, that's awesome in making sure that we are a little bit healthier. Like I said, a Flare Blitz from Darmanitan really hits us like a truck. But obviously, because of the recoil damage, Darm can't really be clicking that multiple times. I think the calcs were somewhere between 75 and 85% with Darmanitan. So with the combination of Rocky Helmet recoil damage, if we get rocks up, like he can really only click it once, and hopefully we can make sure that those rocks stay up so the rest of his stuff is taking damage. Now, speaking of rocks, like I mentioned, like it's really important for us, but also um, I don't have anyone bringing heavy duty boots, and all my team is taking neutral damage from rocks also. I kind of went back and forth here on Corviknight set for a while, seeing if I wanted to put defog on it, but defog getting rid of our screens really defeats the purpose. I don't have a spinner, so defog would be the only way to try to get that taken care of. So it's like I don't want to shoot myself in the foot with worrying about removing rocks. So um, we're probably gonna have to play hard and fast just to make sure that there's not too much switching and all that passive damage doesn't rack up. Um, so the Mew that we're bringing is kind of gimmicky, um, mainly because the calcs look really bad as far as figuring out what set I can use that's going to do a good amount of damage, that's still going to put us in a position where we can outspeed a Choice Scarf Darmanitan. And I didn't want to just put Choice Scarf on Mew, um, because obviously there's another mod on my team that's scarfed. Um, but the 100 base stat all around is really good, but it still needs that boost in order to give it that extra punch. So what we're doing this week is we're running a Dragon Dance set with Shadow Claw, Leaf Blade, and Stone Edge. That kind of gives us a solid coverage for just about everything on his team. After a Dragon Dance, we're outspeeding everything outside of um, like a Scarfed Lipard, or Scarf Talonflame. We Our weakness policy, because I would love to bait out a U-turn or a knockoff. That's why we're 252 in HP, so we can try to be able to survive one of those. If obviously Darmanitan using U-turn is still going to do a huge chunk to us, definitely more than half. But if it switches out and we click Dragon Dance, so then we go from, or we can get up to +3 attack, um, and then having that Dragon Dance speed boost will put us in a really solid position to do work. It should be noted that we are an Item Clause League, so I definitely expect our Manatee to be scarfed, which kind of takes the threat away from other mons being scarfed. But hey, you never know. A lot of people like to get fancy, especially in draft leagues. Do crazy stuff like bring a Darm with a band or something like that. Basically have it at a +2, especially because of our speed tiers. Like it might be something that they are tempted to do. So you never know, right? Next up, we got Luke, our Lando. So Lando, we are running Life Orb to give us that little bit of that extra sauce on it without having to be worried about choice lock. Um, this is another mod where like a choice item I was kind of thinking about for a while, like a band would be great, but um, the combination of EQ and Stone Edge kind of does work to just about everything on his team. I think Feeney is the only one that really doesn't take that much from it, um, but still, it's doing a ton of damage. Knockoff gives us a good utility from it. For a while, I was considering Lando being my rocker, but I think Clefable does a better job of it, just with the current sets that we're running. We're running a Swords Dance set this week, so after that chip damage that we're talking about from rocks, an SD might actually not be entirely necessary. But if we're in a position where we have a decent amount of momentum, we can get a free Swords Dance up. That would be absolutely awesome. And then, um, like I said before, like speed tiers are really important in this matchup. So we just got to be cognizant of what we can and cannot outspeed. Um, and since we do not have, um, like U-turn on this set that we're running, um, we have to be aware of our positioning and switching in and out, that kind of stuff. We don't want to give Lando away for something silly. And then finally, we have our Alolan Persian. Depending, like I mentioned with Clefable, right? Depending on the team that he brings, I actually might start off with a Persian lead. Um, and that's mainly to like getting a parting shot off on anything and then giving us a little bit of momentum right off the rip is always awesome. Um, Really, the only mon that doesn't do anything to is like Metagross, because Metagross has clear body, so parting shot actually doesn't switch us out if used on a clear body mon. Um, that's actually a mechanic that, while parting shot is awesome, um, and Persian is one of the few mons that actually gets it, um, it kind of hampers that move's ability to get solid momentum. We have enough speed to outspeed everything outside of Talonflame. Um, I honestly do not expect Talonflame though, just to be real, just because I think Mandibuzz really needs those boots, and Talonflame without boots means that right off the bat you're coming in at 50%. So it kind of limits what Talonflame's able to do. But then also we have our knockoff there. Nice stab coverage. But for the most part, this is a utility mon, right? We're not worried about doing damage. We got other mons that can deal the damage. And then taunt. We want to keep things from switching up or from setting up on us, uh, especially things like Finny. Um, Calm Mind Finny can be a real problem for this team. Um, Poltegeist using Shell Smash can be irritating too, but really like Taunt would be great for like things like Quagsire, so it can't do what it does, right, and just click like Toxic and recover over and over again, all that stuff. And then Foul Play kind of just gives us a little bit more um, rounded way to do some damage, especially against mons like Dermaniton. Since we are Scarfed, we can outspeed it even if it's scarfed. And if it has a decent amount of chip damage, we can click Foul Play and outspeed it and knock it out. And that goes for other mons too, right? We have that little bit of like revenge kill potential because of the Scar Foul Play. Um, but that's all I got for this team build preview. Again, kind of trying some different stuff here. Like I said in my draft video, I wanted to try to be as creative as I could week to week. I don't want to bring the same stuff over and over again. Um, and I think this week we have the potential to have some really interesting stuff. Wishport Clef, I absolutely love. The screen support from Rotom can be good. Core of Beat can be a real annoyance for the opposing team. Weakness Policy Mew, kind of a little gimmicky. And then, hole punchers like Lando here to, Life Orb SD can be a problem to deal with if the opponent's not ready and I get set up. And then, Alolan Persian just giving me a little bit more of that utility player with the parting shots in and out, the taunts, all that good stuff. So that's all I got for this week, and here our battle should be starting probably within the next hour or so, and we will catch up from there. Thank you for watching the preview.
What is going on, guys, gals, non-binary pals? It's your boy Artisan Kane, and we are doing our week 2 SPC game here. So quick backstory, right? So Sunday night, we were supposed to try to play our game. That was a few days ago at this point. The plan was to do it on that night. We had a lot of issues with the LAN stuff, so what ended up happening is then we pushed it back to yesterday to try to see if we can get it going again. Still weren't able to get it up, so finally we just made the calls like, okay, well, let's at least just to get it done, let's knock it out on Showdown. Ideally, you know, this will be our only week that we have to do something like this, since this is a Wi-Fi LAN league. And hopefully we're able to figure out some of the technical difficulty stuff. Anyways, so the preview I actually did at this point several days ago. But just so we get an idea, here's what we brought, right? Just like I said in the team build preview, we got Clef, Corv, Mew, Lando, T, Rotom, Mo, and Persian. So we're gonna just go play by play here. I'll just explain like my thought process, and we'll see what happened in this battle. I wasn't able to record it live because I was, you know, set up to do the switch, and then, you know, just trying to change back and forth, and just that frustration. We weren't able to do it live, live commentary and all that. So this is what we're gonna roll with here. So with that being said, so what the Starmies brought, like, okay, we knew some of the pieces that were going to come, right? Like, we anticipated Feeny and Darm. Obviously, those were probably his two biggest hitters. Mandibuzz was a real problem to deal with. We talked about that at length in the team builder. Mamo and Metagross both hit really, really hard. Also, good thing is that they're physical attackers, so with the set that we brought with Corv, we're not too worried about them. And then Poltegeist there, especially when I saw Poltegeist, I knew that rocks were going to be even more important than ever. And then especially with the combination of Darm and Mandibuzz, I kind of figured Mandibuzz is going to have boots on it anyways. But we definitely wanted to get rocks up ASAP. So that is why we went with, so turn 1, he did send out Darm. I figured it was going to U-turn, or if it had Iron Head, maybe it would go for an Iron Head if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. But because like an Iron Head could have really messed us up, especially if it flinched us and everything. So turn 1, I figured, you know, we're going to take that Iron Head, we're going to take that, you know, 10 to 15%, and we're going to get our rocks up. So Metagross comes out, not too surprising, considering, you know, he can just kind of freely click Meteor Mash on us. So that definitely scared Clefable out, and we're going to bring Corviknight. Corviknight, like I said, because of the set we brought, we can eat those pretty well. So that Meteor Mash only does 25% to us. The Rocky Helmet chip is just going to build up over time. So when he brings out Mandibuzz, I'm kind of anticipating defogging so he can get rid of those. And what we do in his face is we're just gonna Iron Defense in his face. I figured maybe he was gonna knock or defog. That way he can get a little bit more utility out of Mandibuzz. But when I saw the foul play, I was like, okay, that's awesome. That's gonna do, you know, like 10% maximum to us, and we can eat those all day. Crit body press there does 57%, which is great. I knew in order to do real damage to this thing, we're gonna need a couple of Iron defenses. So, but the most important thing two was to stay healthy as well. So we get another Iron Defense there, anticipating the Roost. I figured he wasn't going to be able to stay in on us, but he U-turns out. Again, I was kind of anticipating a defog, especially to try to bring in a mod like Poltegeist. If that thing is sashed and he didn't get rid of rocks, you know, we're breaking those sashes. We're doing big damage to mons like Darmanitan on the switch in. So this was fantastic for us, right? So that's a free Roost there. Again, I was kind of expecting a defog, but on this Shell Smash, we pay back. Beautiful, beautiful move, right? Like we talked about in the team build, payback was specifically there to do damage to mons like Poltegeist, like to Uxie, that we weren't able to hit as hard with body press, or in Poltegeist's case, obviously it can't get damage from body press, period. So they were probably anticipating we were like maybe defog, U-turn, Iron Defense body press, and maybe they thought we didn't have anything else to hit them, which is why they felt safe to come in on that, which is awesome, right? That's the plan. That's why we wanted to be a little bit more creative with our set, be a little bit more unpredictable. So it's awesome. So right off the bat, Corv is able to get a big KO on a threatening Shell Smasher, because those our team isn't really built for, especially this week, it's not really built for those special mons like Poltegeist that can boost up in our faces. So Poltegeist goes down, brings in Darm. Again, it's eating that 25% on rocks, which is fantastic. We are +4 at this point because we have 2 Iron defenses up, which I knew even at max, like the maximum roll, even at like +1, was like in the 50s, I think 57% max. So I figured at +2, you know, like we can eat those all day. Obviously, you know, crits would suck or something like that, but we have that residual damage from the Rocky Helmet on top of the recoil damage, so that body press here is going to do enough to knock the Darm out. And at this point, we are feeling super good, right? We've gotten rid of one of the potential sweeper. We've got rid of Darmanitan, which is the you know, revenge killer basically. So we have a lot of pressure on our opponent now. And then I remember, okay, crap. Tapu Fini can still do a lot of work to us, especially if it's something like a Calm Mindset, or even Specs can be a real problem too, just depending on how it's EV'd and everything. The good thing with his team setup is that having Darmanitan, we kind of always anticipate that one to be the scarfed one, so we kind of know, okay, I doubt that Fini is going to be like Trick Scarf, because Trick Scarf could be a real problem for this Corviknight set, right? Because of the fact that we require the setup, or even like the Mew set, right? It requires setup. So if we're locked into our, you know, some sort of status move or something, we're totally screwed. So we did a little bit of the calcs here, see what's going on, what we can do to Fini. The Calm Mind set is what is brought. We went for a body press just to get an estimate of what the EV spread was it had on it. Seeing that it was about 30%, you know, we feel decent about it, right? But at the same time, we don't want to just be clicking body presses and letting it Calm Mind up on us, because if it gets a nice crit in there or something, it's gonna hit like a train. The other good thing we see here too is, okay, so at +2/+2, like we know that's a problem, especially at this point. But usually on Calm Mindsets, like it'll have Draining Kiss to get some of that health back. So, which is great, because that means it doesn't have Moonblast, which Moonblast can be real pain in the ass to deal with. So we decided to switch to Mew here. You know, obviously that allows it to get up another Calm Mind, which was kind of not what we wanted, right? Especially when I had him on like Persian, like I have taunt on it. I could have taunted, but since he had already gotten one Calm Mind up, I figured, well, why switch in a taunter? Because at this point he can just freely click either Dazzling or Draining Kiss or Moonblast or Scald or Surf and just start doing big damage to us. So instead, let's go to Mew, try to set up, get our +1/+1 with Dragon Dance, and then the set that we brought on this Mew was max crits. So we had we had Dragon Dance and then 3 moves that have a high critical hit chance. And that was specifically to try to fish for crits and try to make sure that we're doing as much damage as possible, in addition to that attack raise and speed raise from you. So we had Shadow Claw, Leaf Blade, and Stone Edge, if you saw it in the team build. So at +1/+1, we are going to do decent damage here. The Draining Kiss does come out, so that confirms that there's not going to be a Moonblast, and it's probably just dual stab. So Draining Kiss and maybe Scald or Surf, which is great, because that Draining Kiss only did 30%. He's at +2 right now, so that means we can kind of do what we want to do here. The Leaf Blade calcs look really favorable. They were doing, about 50%, between 40-ish, 47 max, I think. So that looks very favorable to us. He goes for a taunt there. Obviously, that's a little bit later than he probably wanted to. I think he just wanted to make sure we weren't just going to keep dancing in his face. But that Leaf Blade kind of already shows our intention is we want to get this thing out ASAP, because it's the biggest thing keeping us from wiping out the rest of his team. And that's exactly what we do. So we go for another Leaf Blade. Obviously, yeah, that crit definitely mattered. Like I said, we're only doing 46, 47-ish, maybe 50. But 60% we weren't going to be able to do unless we were able to get a crit. But again, we have to realize that that's specifically why we had the set that we ran, right? We wanted to make sure that we had that chance at getting those crits to make sure that we're doing as much damage as possible. So it works out perfectly, right? We're able to get rid of Feeny. We're still at +1/+1. We are gonna keep clicking Leaf Blade here. Yeah, we figured it wasn't gonna knock it out, but we still do a huge damage to it. And at this point, okay, so we see the Life Orb, which means that on this hit right here, we know Mammo's going down because of our Rocky Helmet and or Life Orb. So we just go for Roost. We don't have to worry about trying to click anything else. I probably could have gone for Iron Defense also, but the Roost there is nice. That way we can be at full HP when either Mandy or Metagross come out. Especially Metagross if it starts getting some sort of crits or something with the Meteor Mash and whatnot. And of course, there's your Meteor Mash crit plus attack raise. So that's pretty nice for him, right? But the fact that we are Rocky Helmet, he's getting that passive damage for every time he attacks us. We get up that Iron Defense. I know I can roost off that damage. It's really not an issue. If a crit is only doing 33, then we can, he really doesn't have a win con to be able to break Corviknight at this point. So we can just roost off that damage. He takes that Rocky Helmet damage, and there's really not much he can do. Again, we get critted again. It does 60%, but at the end of the day, we know we can just roost off the damage. It was only a matter of time of trying to wear Metagross down, and now with Mandibuzz has kind of revealed that Foul Play is his only option. And since it's a physical, or since it's technically a contact move or whatever, we're getting that Rocky Helmet chip, and it's only doing 10-12% to us, so we can roost infinitely in his face. And then he's gonna be roosting, but at this point, I know I can. Body Press is gonna be doing a boatload of damage. I can do more Iron Defensive if I want to try to knock it out, but in all honesty, he really didn't have a win con at that point. So we were just free to keep clicking Body Press, even if something did happen, that Corv went down there. we still had the rest of our team healthy. So so a real good win for us this week. Again, kind of unfortunate with how we had to use Showdown instead of the regular Wi-Fi LAN battle setup on the Switch. Obviously, that's a lot prettier to look at. It's a lot nicer to look at than just doing like a Showdown replay, right? But I wanted to make sure I had some sort of content up. I want to try to do that through the rest of the season. So through 2 weeks, we were 1-1. We're still solidly in the hunt to continue going forward. I know next week I have a really tough match. Eddie with Egg Time, coach at Egg Time. They're 0-2, I believe, also right now. So I know they're hungry for a win, just like I was hungry for a win this week, right? He's got some big threats. Latios, Conkelder, Tapu Koko, which Tapu Koko, I absolutely love that mon, and it makes sense why they took them on so early in the draft. But anyways, I digress. I'll go ahead and end out this video here. I really do appreciate y'all watching, and until next time, peace.